Hey everyone, and welcome to a deep dive into something that might just put a little extra cash in your pocket, especially if you've ever spent some time working in public service.
Oh, yeah.
We're going deep on the Social Security Fairness Act.
Right.
And trust me, folks, this one is a total game changer.
It is a big one.
So for years now, public servants, right, folks like teachers, police officers, federal employees, they often got kind of the short end of the stick when it came to their Social Security benefits.
Yeah, that's right.
I was doing a little reading on this, and there was something about the Windfall Elimination Provision
Right.
and the government pension offset,
Yeah.
WEP and GPO for short.
Yep.
They sound a little intimidating, don't they?
They do.
Can you break those down for us? What were they all about?
Well, imagine Social Security benefits, like a pie.
Okay.
So you work hard, you pay into it, and you expect a nice slice when you retire, right?
Right.
But with these WEP and GPO, it was like somebody was sneaking in and taking a big old bite out of your slice. If you also had a pension from a job that didn't pay into Social Security.
So even though you earned those benefits through your work, you weren't getting the full amount.
You got it.
That doesn't sound fair at all.
Nope, not at all. I felt like a penalty for dedicating yourself to public service.
Right.
A lot of people ended up with way less than they should have gotten.
Yeah.
Especially families who were really depending on those benefits.
Well, I've got some great news for everyone listening.
Okay.
The Social Security Fairness Act just came in and swept those unfair provisions right out of here.
Woo!
No more WEP, no more GPO.
Fond history.
And here's the real kicker, folks. It's not just for future benefits.
Nope.
The changes go all the way back to January 2020.
That's right.
Wait, hold on. Retroactive.
Uh-huh.
So some people might actually get a nice little check in the mail for all that money they missed out on.
Yeah, we're talking potential lump sum payments, especially for those folks who had what we call mixed work histories.
Yikes.
Yeah, part of their career under Social Security and part not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I bet some people are going to be pretty pleasantly surprised by this.
I would say so.
This is going to be a big change for some people.
For sure. Think about someone who might have lost out on, let's just say, $100 a month because of WEP.
Okay.
Over 3 years, that's over $3,500 potentially heading their way.
That's a serious chunk of change.
It is.
Okay, so we've got the WEP gone. What about that GPO?
Right.
What did that mean for families out there?
So before with the GPO, a spouse who is eligible for benefits based on their own work history might have seen their benefits reduced.
Right.
Sometimes by a lot, if their partner also had a pension from a job not covered by Social Security.
So even though they earned those benefits themselves, they were penalized just because their spouse had a pension.
It was a real tough situation.
Wow.
It really hurt families where one spouse had worked in public service.
Yeah.
But now with GPO gone, families get to keep the higher benefit.
Oh, wow.
Whether it's their own or their spouse's, it's about time they get what they earned.
This is amazing news for so many families out there. But something I'm really curious about is how did this take so long to happen?
Wow.
It just seems like such a clear case of unfairness.
It wasn't an easy road, that's for sure. It took years of hard work and a lot of dedication from advocacy groups like NORAFI, the National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association.
Oh, yeah.
They fought tooth and nail to bring this change about.
It's inspiring to see what kind of change people can make when they come together like that.
It is.
But I imagine passing the law is only half the battle.
Right?
Actually, getting these changes implemented seems like a whole other challenge.
Oh, absolutely.
What happens now?
Well, the ball's in the Social Security Administration's court now.
Okay.
They have to figure out how to put all of this into action the right way. Yeah. And that's a massive, massive undertaking.
I bet that's like rewiring a whole building while the lights are still on.
You could say that. Where do they even begin, right? Well, the first hurdle is figuring out everyone who's eligible for these retroactive benefits.
Right.
It's not as easy as just looking at everyone who had WEP or GPO applied to their benefits in the past.
Okay.
The rules have changed, remember?
Oh, right.
So some people who weren't eligible before might be eligible now.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So even if you thought you weren't eligible before, it's worth checking again now.
Definitely. It's like getting a second chance.
Absolutely.
To claim what you deserve.
Right.
But the Social Security Administration, they have a huge responsibility here.
Yeah.
They need to make sure they get this right, avoid errors, and make sure those payments go out quickly and accurately.
So what can our listeners do to make sure they don't fall through the cracks here?
First things first, double check your contact info with the Social Security Administration.
Good idea.
Make absolutely sure your mailing address and direct deposit info are all up to date.
Right. You don't want that check getting lost in the mail.
Exactly. And speaking of making things easier, what about those online Social Security accounts?
Oh, yeah, those are helpful.
Those are super helpful. It's the best way to stay on top of everything. You can check your statements, update your info, and even see the status of your claim all in one place.
All right, so we've established that this is a major victory when it comes to fairness.
Absolutely.
But there's obviously so much more to unpack here, especially when it comes to implementation and what it all means for you personally.
For sure.
Stick with us, folks. We'll be back in a moment to dive even deeper into the Social Security Fairness Act. We're back, folks, and diving deeper than ever into the Social Security Fairness Act.
That's right.
Before the break, we were talking about all the work the Social Security Administration has ahead of it now to get these changes implemented.
Yeah, it's no small feat. But you know what's really interesting?
What's that?
All the ripple effects this act could have.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Think about it.
Okay.
All those folks who maybe made big financial decisions based on those old unfair rules, thinking they'd never see their full benefits.
You're right. This could change things in a big way for a lot of people.
Big time. Retirement plans, downsizing their homes, all of that could be back on the table.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Someone might have put off retiring thinking they couldn't afford it.
Right.
But now they've got these back payments and higher monthly checks coming in.
Exactly. Their whole outlook changes.
It's empowering.
Absolutely. And for folks who are already struggling,
Yes.
just barely making ends meet on a fixed income,
Right.
this could be life-changing.
It really could. Wipe out some debt, cover those medical expenses.
Yep. Financial breathing room.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just individual relief either, right?
No way. Think about the boost to local economies.
Oh, yeah. How so?
All those back payments and those bigger benefits,
Wow.
they're going right back into those communities.
So more money for local businesses, maybe even a little bump for the housing market.
Exactly. A chain reaction of positive impact.
I like it. But while we're talking about the money here,
Yeah.
let's not forget about the human side of this whole thing.
You're absolutely right. This isn't just about dollars and cents.
It's about dignity and respect.
It is.
Recognizing the folks who've dedicated their lives to public service.
For years, they felt undervalued, like their contributions weren't appreciated.
Yeah.
And then to be penalized on top of it,
Right.
it's tough.
It feels like a bit of an apology almost.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, hey, we messed up and we're going to make it right.
It's like saying your service matters and you deserve to be treated fairly.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
And speaking of making things right,
Yeah.
how do we keep this momentum going?
That's the question, isn't
This is a huge step forward.
it? It is.
But is this the end of the road for Social Security reform?
I think what this victory shows is that change is possible,
Okay.
even with a system as big and complicated as Social Security.
Right.
And honestly, there are other areas that need a closer look, too.
What comes to mind for you?
Well, one that's been getting a lot of attention is the long-term solvency of the program. Right.
Making sure there's enough money to keep it going for future generations.
Exactly. For everyone, not just folks retiring right now.
So what are we talking about here? Like adjusting the retirement age?
Possibly.
Or finding new ways to fund the system?
All of that's on the table. It's complex, no easy answers,
Right.
but it's a conversation we need to have.
Sounds like we'll need a whole other deep dive just to unpack that one.
We might.
This whole thing has been really eye-opening, you know?
Yeah.
Even for someone like me who thought they knew a thing or two about Social Security.
It's a lot to keep up with.
It is. But breaking it down like we're doing here,
Right.
that's what makes all the difference.
I think so.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a quick pause here to gather our thoughts.
Sorry.
Don't go anywhere, though. We've got a lot more to share about the Social Security Fairness Act and what it all means for you. We are back and ready to keep diving deep into the Social Security Fairness Act.
We are.
We've covered a lot of ground so far, right? We talked about how unfair WP and GPO were, the potential for some folks to get some serious cash back,
Yep.
and the mountain of work ahead for the Social Security Administration to get all this implemented.
The big one.
But what really struck me is what you said before the break about this act maybe being a sign of bigger changes to come.
Oh, yeah.
So you're thinking this isn't just a one-time fix, but maybe like the first domino to fall?
It could be. You know, for years, people have been saying Social Security needs a major overhaul. And this proves it can be done. Even those policies that seem untouchable,
Right.
it can happen, and that's pretty inspiring.
I'm ready. What other parts of Social Security need a little Fairness Act magic, in your opinion?
Well, one that's been making headlines is the long-term solvency of the whole program.
Yeah, that's a big one. making sure there's enough money to keep Social Security running for generations to come.
Exactly, for everyone, not just the folks retiring today.
So we're talking about things like maybe raising the retirement age?
Maybe.
Or finding some new ways to bring money into the system?
All of that's being discussed. It's a tough problem, no easy answers.
Right.
But we got to talk about it.
Sounds like we need another deep dive episode just for that one.
We might.
This whole conversation has been eye-opening, even for someone like me, who thought I had a decent handle on Social Security.
That's complicated stuff.
It is. But breaking it down like we're doing here,
right,
that's what makes it understandable.
It helps. And that's what it's all about, right?
Exactly. So to wrap things up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to walk away with today?
I'd say knowledge is power. The more you understand about how these big systems work, the better you can look out for yourself and your family.
I love that. Stay curious, folks. Stay informed. And don't be shy about asking questions.
That's right.
And remember, this is your future we're talking about. So make your voice heard.
Couldn't agree more. Well, this has been a fantastic discussion.
It has.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure exploring this landmark legislation with you.
And thank you to everyone who joined us for this deep dive into the Social Security Fairness Act. We hope you found it informative and maybe even a little inspiring. Until next time, keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.